how some of this trauma has manifested itself. And I tell people all the time, I'm a therapy junkie. I studied psychology when I was in college, and one of the requirements for being a psych major was you gotta go into therapy. You have to understand how other people evaluate your own head in order to understand how the head ticks. Because the best head that I understand is my own.
Yeah.
And I don't even understand it. You know what I'm saying? So none of us really understand. We don't understand why we behave the way we do and where those behaviors come from. But they
Yeah.
all stem from something. And typically, it stems from experiences, interactions, and traumas throughout your most formative years. So
Yeah.
it's from birth through, I think it's about maybe like 11 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so you talked about dealing and seeing and experiencing a lot of cray cray.
Yeah.
How do you believe that that's manifested itself
Well,
later, years later?
yeah. Another book I have back here is The Body Keeps the Score. That's
Ooh,
classic, right?
ooh, that's good.
That's a good one. And so
Yeah.
for me, having, that drop the mic moment that I had at that cannabis convention, what I also said was that I no longer smoke cannabis. I
Mhm.
now I put it in my vagina, right?
Right.
And my what happened for me was that I grew up. The first time I smoked weed, I think it was like 3 years old. Somebody was like puff puff, right? And this is in the 70s where,
70s, so it's like not a big deal, probably.
and it wasn't, that didn't happen all the time, but that's crazy. That's
Yeah, a 3-year old, the brain is like not where it needs to
developing.
be at all.
Yep. And then at 11 years old, consciously with other 12, 13 year olds. So I started partying at a young age. And eventually in my life, that, addiction is a progressive disease, and it's a disease of the
Mm.
body, mind, and spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And it took me decades, but I finally had to face that and go into recovery.
Yeah.
And I am happy to say today I'm a sober woman. I've been here for a while now. I
Yes.
started 9 years ago. I also went to NYU for my MSW. And so, really started to come into an understanding of my own trauma through that
Yeah.
process of being a woman. I've navigated abusive relationships, and many of us don't talk about having experienced sexual abuse. And
Right.
I'm open to these conversations because, and I'm open to authentically share my experiences, because I don't want others to hold it down, because that
Right.
really is what creates illness and disease,
Yes.
right?
Yo.
And
Yes.
so it's to me, it's not just the head stuff, it's a holistic experience. You bump your toe or you have a toothache, it fucks your whole body, and it fucks your day.
Literally, you're like, I can't think, I can't do the meetings, I can't function because it
It's
starts
weird.
small, but then it's like it grows, right? It's like a mold. It grows.
Exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
Stress is exhausting, it's psychically draining, right? So my mission has been sobriety from substances, emotional sobriety, um, no more codependence. I'm
Yeah.
If it's going to help me, I'm into it. Eating healthy. I definitely, you know, as I've got with the hormones, like weight is a whole
Mm.
thing. The
Ugh.
body image, um, even like binge watching. Like
Mm.
why'd you just hit that again? Our brain, like addiction is whack-a-mole. It will hit you wherever you want. It's our ego trying to take over, right? So
Mm.
really, my mind is not the boss. What's really the boss for me is my heart and my gut.
Mm.
And not just my gut, like our microbiome and all that, which is true,
Right.
right? But my soul, my
The
soul.
little voice gut. It's the voice gut.
I
Yeah.
feel it in my body if something is right or wrong. And it took me
Mm.
getting sober, and it took me, not just talk therapy, somatic healing, EMDR, all different types of modalities, group
Yes.
work, landmark. I have explored it all to
Mm.
to heal and to be a better person, a better offering to the world. I just was having a
Right.
conversation with somebody, and really reasserting in my in my viewpoint, loving yourself is the highest form of loving God.
Yes.
Loving your higher power, loving spirit. For me, higher power is love. It's the same
Right.
thing. My God is love, actions of love. I got all about love, bell hooks right here, right?
You got some good books. Listen, I got books, but listen, I got to get some good books. I got like business books,
Inspirations books here. And I think we met through Grace. I have her book here, The Joy
the
Strategist.
Joy Strategist. Yes, we're gonna have a whole book list in the comments. Like these are the books you guys get to, because I think you make such amazing points, Hopi, around the work. And I think what I'm finding, particularly in this new space of being single and even meeting new people, that so many people still haven't done this work. And so they constantly are bringing these traumas into every new relationship, whether it's platonic or intimate, and it's this continuous destructive cycle. And
Yeah,
what people don't understand in this big age, I feel like you're 40 plus, you're 30 something plus, and you have access to therapy. It's not about there's a problem. It's about what is it that my poor parents, family, loved ones, maybe not so loved ones when I was young, exposed me to, that I have got to understand, be able to name it and claim it, so that it doesn't show up and destroy what this life that I'm trying to live, right? It's not even your fault. You know what I'm saying? And I think people don't even recognize that. It's not your fault. It's
yeah,
whatever was poured into you, you got to go in with a filter and get all those grains out, get all the shit out. It's like old oil you keep frying fish in. Bitch, get them crumbs out of there. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah. New
seasoning is
oil.
old. Get it out. You clean
Yeah,
this oil up.
yeah. Shame, guilt, and shame are religiosity that doesn't
Hmm.
work for me.
Right.
Now, I definitely stopped drinking and smoking weed because I was a wake and bake like daily smoker. Right? It
Right.
was it was really like a Prozac for me. But I stopped all that. One of the reasons is because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to
Mm.
be embarrassed anymore. You do embarrassing things when you're drunk. You do, and so
Kinda.
or if it doesn't, there's normal people who don't, but I'm not normal. There's
Right.
we normies, right? And so it's I don't want to perpetuate a feeling of
Mm.
guilt and shame. I
Right.
want to be in alignment with the qualities and the assets of love, of my higher power. And so
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to be where I am, if I hadn't gotten sober. I wouldn't be able to be having this conversation. Now, could I fake it? Kind of, sure, but there was
Yeah.
always sort of something in there that was lacking. So it's really being able to not function from a place of shame and guilt. I have anybody who knows me knows that I have these acronyms. I talk about them all the time. So fear,
Mm-hmm.
false evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we need to face everything and rise.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Okay, face everything and rise. Of
I
course,
didn't
the
make these
false
up.
evidence
I
of
use
things
them.
appearing real, that
Yeah.
I know. That I've heard of. But this next one, what was it again? Face
Face.
everything and rise.
Yeah.
But people are afraid, which is so ironic, right? The word fear is literally what is keeping people from facing everything and rising.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're using that to describe what they should be doing, but fear ultimately is what prevents them from doing that. It's nasty. It's really really hard work, and it's nasty stuff in here. You know what I mean? And sometimes in here.
Yeah. It's toxic.
And I applaud people who take this journey. I've been taking this journey for years. I actually just called my therapist the other day and I was like, "Yeah, have I missed a few months? I need to get back." You know what I mean? Because it never ends. To your point, it's a lifetime journey. We'll never be the best version of ourselves, but we're certainly better.
Yeah.
Much better than we ever were.
And I think even just these conversations, community, being in conversation. I pull cards, right? So I always have different kinds of cards that
Do
I'm pulling.
you? Oh
Yes.
my gosh!
So before this conversation, I pulled three cards, and the first one was communication. The
Perfect.
second one was clarity,
Oh. Yes.
And the third one was grace.
Oh.
And so, those are what I call God winks,
Yes.
and communication is such a big one. It's
Yeah.
such a big one. And these conversations and having dialogues and connecting, and maybe it's being a little brave and fearless,
For
and
sure.
and you know what? I don't have time to worry about what other people think about me.